welcome. Thank you for joining us. It's Friday, April 12th. You're watching News 2 on Via Channel 4 and 504. I'm April Knight. Topping our stories tonight, brush fires continue to ravage parts of St. Croix. On Thursday, the VI Fire Services again responded to a fire that broke along the South Shore Road. This was as close as we could get after the police department blocked off the area. This is the second incident of brush fires within the week. According to St. Croix Fire Chief Titus, it took about 4 hours and 13 firefighters to contain the blaze. Titus also said they do not have evidence of arson and that these fires could be ignited by cigarette butts thrown out of vehicles or even just pieces of glass magnifying the sunlight. The fire service does urge residents to report suspicious activity that they think might be related to a fire incident. Here's more from Chief Titus.
Well, we can't say that there's arson suspected, but being due to our weather and the temperature, it's been like that years in the past. People with cigarette butts, the glass bottles out there, magnifying the heat around. So basically, that's what it is. So arson, to say it's arson, we can't really pinpoint it unless somebody comes in and say, well, they gave us more evidence to show us that we can say that there's somebody out setting these fires. You see something, like we always say, you see something, you say something. If you can take a picture of if there's a vehicle in the area at the time and you realize that this vehicle been sitting around and a few minutes after or a few hours after or half an hour after there's a large brush fire going on, if you can grab some license plate numbers, color of vehicle, identify them so we can match them up. But like I say, once again, it's dry. A lot of vehicles traverse those areas. Well, right now we're getting ready to go deep into the brush fire season. Yes, it's normal for this time of the year. Due to the dryness and the weather conditions, there's a lot of dry brush out there. So it's been very hot and very dry, so it's the time of the year.
Remember, there's also an outdoor burn ban in effect across the territory. We'll keep you updated. The Bryan administration recently announced the launch of its transparency website. The site, which you can find at www.transparency.vi.gov, was a collaboration between 3 major local agencies: the Office of Management and Budget under Director nominee Jennifer O'Neill, the Bureau of Information Technology under Acting Director Angela Riddick, and the Department of Finance under Commissioner nominee Kirk Colwood. The website displays revenues and expenditures of the territory's funds, as well as local aid to each government department and annual revenues. It also contains information on vendor payments, which many Virgin Islands agencies are far behind on. You can find company names and the payments they received from various agencies. According to Government House, the site will contain information for every fiscal year and was built to comply with provisions for transparency in the Virgin Islands Code. Again, that website is www.transparency.vi.gov. On Friday, the territory celebrated the culmination of the Week of the Young Child. Events marked the day on both St. Thomas and St. Croix. On St. Thomas, there was a march and a ceremony at the Emile Griffith Ballpark, all to draw attention to the territory's young ones. News 2's James Gardner has that story.
The Virgin Islands Department of Education held its annual celebration of the Week of the Young Child at elementary schools across the territory this week. The activities is sponsored by the National Association for the Education of Young Children and celebrates early learning, young children, their teachers, and families. The St. Thomas St. John District closed out the Week of the Young Child with a fun field day at the Emile Griffith Ballpark. The youngest learners in both public and non-public schools kicked off the day with a march from Emancipation Garden down the waterfront and ending at the ballpark.
Are you ready for the Week of the Young Child activity? Yes, St. John heard you.
On the field with the kids were community partners like EMS, who were giving out stickers and hats, the Water and Power Authority, who let the kids sit in their trucks, the United Way of the Virgin Islands, who gave out bags, and VIA, who had employees reading stories to the kids.
We're here today for the Week of the Young Child as a sponsor to read to the children of the Virgin Islands and to help stimulate minds. We have always been a part of the Week of the Young Child. It's always important to give back to the community and to help stimulate minds.
Another benefit is the fact that all these kids from different schools come to one location and play and have fun together.
It's important for children to learn through play. So the Week of the Young Child culminating activity allows them to actually do that. So they're here learning to collaborate with each other, work together. They're playing games with each other. We have different members from the community actually coming out and working with them. So we actually have our sponsors that are actually here. Thank you to everyone who supports our youngest learners. I know we pay attention to the big kids, but it starts from small. Remember to pick up a book and read to our children every single day. Interact with them. Don't get them to stop talking. Make sure that they can articulate, and it starts here.
For News 2, this is James Gardner.
It was a great event. Well, turning our attention to crime, a St. Thomas man was arrested on robbery-related charges on Thursday. 28-year-old Dante Tung was charged with aiding and abetting, grand larceny, conspiracy to commit robbery, and robbery third degree. According to police on Saturday, March 30th at around 5 p.m., they received reports that Tung grabbed a victim, while another man who remains unknown at this time searched the victim's pockets and removed roughly $2,000 in cash. Tung's bail was set at $50,000. He was remanded to the Bureau of Corrections pending his advice of rights hearing. Meanwhile, on St. Croix, the VIPD's traffic stops yielded another illegal weapon seizure and an arrest. According to police, on April 10th, Wednesday around 11 in the morning, a VIPD unit conducting safety inspections in the Estate Mannings Bay Road in Christiansted found that Kareem B. Smith was in possession of a substantial amount of marijuana and a firearm. 34-year-old Smith admitted that he did not have a license to carry the firearm. He was arrested and charged with unauthorized possession of a firearm and possession of marijuana with intent to distribute. He couldn't post his $25,000 bail, so he was remanded to Golden Grove pending his advice of rights hearing. Also on St. Croix, police are investigating a shooting in Campo, Rico that happened Thursday afternoon, April 11th. If you have information, call the numbers that will appear on your screen. On Thursday afternoon, police responded to reports of shots fired in Campo, Rico in that area called the Turf. They learned that a black male was driven to the Juan Luis Hospital with gunshot wounds. The victim told police he was in Campo, Rico when a masked man approached him and started firing at his torso. The victim said he did not know the shooter and why anyone would want to hurt him. The incident is under active investigation. If you have information on this, please call 911, Crime Stoppers USVI, or the numbers on your screen. Meanwhile, the police department has released the names of 2 victims in the deadly shooting at Mibloque, a nightclub on St. Thomas. According to police, 29-year-old Adrian Aquino Sanchez and 35-year-old Logan Antonio Pujols were killed in the incident. The shooting happened on March 17th around 11 p.m. 911 got calls of multiple shots fired at Mibloque, located in Altona and Welgunst. Police found 2 unresponsive Hispanic males lying on the floor inside the establishment. EMS arrived and found no vital signs. Police also learned that 2 other individuals were shot, 1 male and 1 female. Both victims were transported to Schneider Hospital. No arrests were made at this time. This incident remains under active investigation. If you have any information, you can call 911 or Crime Stoppers USVI at 1-800-222-TIPS, as well as the numbers on your screen. Coming up next, a library for the visually impaired on St. Croix. Plus, Tom Joyner was in town. We have the highlights from his fantastic visit when we come back. Welcome back. Tom Joyner was in town on Thursday. The legendary DJ and radio host came to St. Thomas on his annual Fantastic Voyage cruise, which docked at Waiko on St. Thomas. Joyner, who is a huge supporter of historically black colleges and universities, also visited the University of the Virgin Islands campus earlier in the day. In the afternoon, Virgin Islanders came out in force to show their appreciation. Marching bands from various schools as well as revelers those dressed for carnival certainly livened up that scene. Governor Albert Bryan was also there to honor Joyner for his contributions to the community.
Recognizes Brother Thomas Joyner for your many years of civic leadership and your economic contributions to the global community. Presented by Zeta Xi Chapter, St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands on April 11th, 2019. Congratulations.
On behalf of a grateful community, I sincerely thank you for your service, and in respect to all the Black Greeks and all who give their service to those in need, especially our HBCUs, and making sure that more and more of our young African Americans are allowed to take part in a university and have an education that's a promise of a middle class or better life. Thank you, sir. Thank you! Come on, you got to get more than that. Pre-tuition. At the only HBCU that's on the beach, the prettiest campus ever, the University of Virgin Islands. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
There. Well, it's National Library Week from April 7th through the 13th. On St. Croix, the Talking Books Library celebrated the contributions of the nation's libraries and library workers and tried to promote library use and support. The theme for the 2019 National Library Week is Libraries Equal Strong Communities, and Gates Foundation co-founder Melinda Gates will serve as 2019 National Library Week honorary chair. Stephanie Brown has more.
The Virgin Islands Regional Library for the Blind and Physically Impaired is celebrating National Library Week. This year's theme nationally is Libraries Equal Strong Communities, which illustrates how today's libraries are at the heart of our cities, towns, schools, and campuses, providing critical resources, programs, and expertise. A member of the Consumer Advisory Council of the Talking Books Library on St. Croix shared the importance of the services provided at the library.
This is the Talking Book Library. It's the regional library that serves St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John, and Water Island. Everybody in the Virgin Islands who is physically handicapped or disabled or visually impaired can use this library. You know, all they need to do is call 340-718-2250 to inquire within. The outreach today was to bring light to that because, you know, I did not know about the Talking Book Library until I lost my sight. I lived right down the road here for years and didn't know that what this building was about until when I lost my sight. We have, in the 2010 census, we had actually 3,500 visually impaired people within the territory. And the numbers that use the library is very low. So we're trying to bring awareness that this library is here because it will help not only the visually impaired, the physically handicapped, but also if you have dyslexia, if you have an impairment where you have macular degeneration, you know, this library is very important to persons like that so that they're able to read, and the service is for free.
On Thursday, the 19th annual Taste of St. Croix returned to Christiansted with all the flavor and fanfare that everyone expects from the premier food and wine event in the Caribbean. The night was alive with food, drink, and music, all the ingredients for a wonderful evening to celebrate St. Croix's culinary scene. With over 30 participants from the food and beverage industry, Queen's Cross Street, from the Caravel Hotel and Casino to Company Street, was filled to the brim with hundreds of taste goers who had their choice of cuisines to sample and savor. Beneath every tent there was something different and unique, from appetizers to entrees to heavenly desserts. Winners were announced in 7 categories: soup and stew, local fare, entree, appetizer, beverage, vegetarian, and dessert. For a list of the winners, visit the Taste of St. Croix page on Facebook. One of the judges, Jamal Lake, a graduate of St. Croix Educational Complex, was featured on the Food Network's Halloween Baking Championship. News 2 asked Jamal about his experience and what he was looking forward to at this year's Taste of St. Croix.
Coming from a small island, a lot of times we get left out. So being there to represent the Virgin Islands and show them what we could do, it was one of the most captivating experiences I had in my life. Well, I'm looking forward to try some of the new innovative dishes. So I want to see how the local chefs going to take our traditional dishes and revamp it and give it a new flair. So that's what I'm really looking forward to today. What advice I would have for future chefs is that stay true to who you are, always try to put your best foot forward, and never give up on your dreams.
Well, one of the first major events for Carnival is coming up. On Sunday, head over to the UVI Sports and Fitness Center for the Vita Malt Prince and Princess selection. That's happening at 5 p.m. and again, that's Sunday, April 14th. The following weekend, it's the Queen Show. Make sure you show your support for your favorite Carnival Queen contestants. And that's happening Saturday, April 20th at 8 p.m. and also at the UVI Sports and Fitness Center. And then on Sunday, April 21st, dress up your kids and put them in the Toddlers Derby on Easter Sunday Fun Day. We'll update you on the location for that, but it starts at 4 p.m. on the 21st. Tune in to News 2. We'll have more events for you throughout the month. Meanwhile, we thought you'd want to meet your Carnival Prince and Princess contestants. Here you go.
My name is Jose Severino Jr. I wanted to run for the Prince and Princess contest because I wanted to have fun and make my parents proud.
My name is Shako Emmanuel and I go Journey to primary school.
I am Janae Aliyah Liber, contestant number 1. I go to St. John Christian Academy.
My name is Amaya Safaya Max and I attend the Moravian School. I want to run for PG Princess because I have faith in myself and I can do this.
I am Kenai Nickpoy and I go to the Lockwood Elementary School. I want to run because I think I could do my best.
Good day. I am your reigning Virgin Islands Carnival Princess, Tamaya Angelique Davis.
Good day. I am your reigning Virgin Islands Carnival Prince, Maik Carchula.
Come out to see who will take our crowns on April 14th, 5 p.m. sharp at the UVI Sports and Fitness Center.
They're adorable. Good luck to all the contestants. Coming up next, your Pet of the Week plus your News 2 AccuWeather forecast. Stick around. Welcome back. Time for our Pet of the Week. This week, it's little Zoe. Like many Humane Society dogs, Zoe is a little shy at first, but she's very sweet when she gets to know you. Phil Hansen, animal caretaker at Humane Society, tells us all about Zoe.
This is Zoe. She's 6 years old. She's people-friendly, energetic, smart. She doesn't like cats or other dogs. She's a terrier mix. I don't know what type of terrier, probably a Jack Russell. She's 6 years old.
Hi. Oh, look at you.
She's a people-friendly dog. She loves people, just not friendly with other animals at all. Zoe's part of the 30 for 30 challenge, and her adoption fee is just $30 for the first part of May.
Zoe is part of the Humane Society's 30 for 30 challenge, which has been extended until the first week of May. They're trying to get the 30 dogs that have been in the shelter the longest out of the shelter and into their forever homes. Each adoption will cost you only $30, and you can call the Humane Society at 775-0599 or visit www.hsstt.com for more information. Coming up next, our News 2 AccuWeather forecast. Let's see what the weather looks like.
Good evening. We are headed into the weekend and we're going to notice those winds definitely kicking up, not only for this afternoon or evening, but into your Saturday and Sunday. Trades are going to reestablish themselves being a bit moderate That front that was disturbing the trades continues to press its way out to the east. High pressure will build on in, and that's going to help with that east or east-southeasterly flow that we'll be feeling. Now, for your current satellite a tad bit closer, we have been noticing some clouds, but not a lot of moisture in the area, so there's not a lot of deep level, upper level moisture, I should say, or even at the surface, it's pretty shallow, but there's just enough to bring some showers in for this evening with a low of 76. Also going to be looking at the stray shower possibility in St. John for your Saturday in the mid-80s. Topping off at 85 in St. Thomas, stray showers are likely, and in St. Croix as well with a high of 87. We'll continue to see the chance for some stray showers into Sunday as well, but once again, focusing on the marine forecast, as of now we don't have any cautions in place, but I do anticipate the chance for some cautions into the Atlantic marine forecast as we head into tomorrow. Waves are forecasted 3 to 5 feet, winds out of the east 15 to 20 knots. So winds are really breezy out there. We're also going to feel those winds gusting out of the east 15 to 20 knots on the Caribbean side, but notice the waves here a tad bit elevated compared to the Atlantic. So that is where we could see once again the chance for a small craft use caution in place near and around the islands, but also as you get into the open waters, it will be rather choppy. Moving into the next several days. So Saturday looking great. Also Sunday looking great with partial sunshine, a brief shower, high of 85, remaining in the mid-80s at least through the midweek. And then we'll start to notice as you get past Monday, winds easing on down. Still going to be that easterly trade flow, but not as aggressive as you head into your Tuesday and Wednesday.
Thank you for that. Coming up next, News 2 Sports with Gary Anthony, plus Alex Randall's ever-entertaining news and comments when we come back.
You're watching News 2. This is Alex Randall with news and comment. Where do we put the trash? Waste Management Authority's got a problem. Might be better to say they still have a problem. They're supposed to close the St. Thomas landfill April 30th. Oops, can't hit that deadline. No money, no time, and no space. They asked the court for another delay. And even though they've been identifying places that could be the new landfill, they can't get them in operation within the time frame allowed. It would help a lot if the Waste Management Authority had a source of money. They're supposed to have a plan to get rid of all the tires. Tires keep showing up. You know, we've been out of compliance for decades, and the Waste Management Authority says it will be another 10 years before we're in compliance. While the Waste Management Authority has no place to put the trash, meanwhile, the National Park Service is sending $10 million in a special fund to the Virgin Islands State Historic Preservation Office. The money is to be used to repair hurricane-damaged sites that are in the National Registry of Historic Places. Government House St. Thomas and the Battery on St. John will get $1 million in restoration money. $2 million goes to administration costs. By my count, that leaves $7 million. Then the State Historic Preservation Office has to figure out what other sites will be repaired. Do you ever wonder why we don't build things right the first time? Ages ago, the government built a firehouse in Estate Dorothea. Oops, the door wasn't tall enough for the fire trucks to fit in. So that building had to be replaced, and that took years. And now here comes the Federal Emergency Management Agency sending $162,000 to retrofit that building to make it storm hardy. They're going to install hurricane shutters, wind-rated and storm-rated garage bay doors, and harden all the rooftop equipment. But wait a minute. We all know we get hurricanes. Why wasn't that building built to withstand hurricane winds when it was built? Why wasn't storm hardy there from the start? In the past, when you wanted to take the driver's license test, you just walk in, get the test booklet, sit down and take the test, see how you do. Not anymore. The walk-in approach was too disruptive. Folks walked in late and disrupted the testing. Sometimes those folks would show up and the other people would be taking the test. There'd be more test takers than there were seats. Well, from now on, you have to make an appointment to take the test. I wonder if they have a sign posted that says what steps you have to take to get a driver's license. Maybe a sign that says you have to have an appointment. Senators are going to Sea Trade. You know, every year around this time, the cruise ship industry holds the Sea Trade Convention. A whole posse of folks from our Department of Tourism go. Folks from the West Indian Company go. Well, it's appropriate because it's their job to promote the Virgin Islands and to listen to the cruise ship industry tell us what needs to change in our islands. We put on a good show with dancers and music and other goodies. But why do 6 senators need to go? It's important, I got that. And we have to showcase our islands. But are the senators really making a difference? Or is it just a chance to go to Miami and have a bunch of dinners at taxpayer expense? April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. The governor signed a proclamation. The month of April is Sexual Assault Prevention Month. It's also Child Abuse Prevention Month. The idea is to raise public awareness and educate the community about sexual violence. Now, this year's theme is I Ask, highlighting the idea that consent is normal, healthy, and a necessary part of everyday interactions. And special hearty congratulations to Dahlia Stridiron Felix of the University of the Virgin Islands Counseling Service. As the governor was announcing the month, he conferred the Visionary Voice Award on Dahlia. Good news for Frederiksted, $30 million is available. The construction of Paul E. Joseph Stadium will now proceed. The former governor's plan to buy some more land, to gauge against flooding, that's not happening. But Governor Bryan says they'll work with the money we have. Target date for completion of the new stadium, 2021. Oh, and good news for livestock farmers. It's kind of hard on the animals. The animal slaughterhouse on St. Croix has reopened. The abattoir in St. Thomas remains closed. St. Thomas farmers are allowed to ship their animals to St. Croix for processing. And while we're talking about farmers, it should be noted that mulch is now available on St. Thomas and St. Croix, 4 bags per person maximum. Fort Christian parking lots closed. You know what that means. When the parking lot closes, Carnival is right around the corner. St. Thomas Administrator Avery Lewis announced alternate parking on the waterfront along the apron and at Lionel Roberts Stadium. Carnival is coming, so get ready. Thanks for watching. This is Alex Randall with News and Comment. Now, back to April.
Thank you for that, Alex. Interesting, as always. And now let's see what Gary has for us with News 2 Sports. Gary?
I'm Gary Anthony, and this is News 2 Sports. NBA fans can rejoice. The 82-game regular season has finally, and mercifully for New York Knicks fans, come to a close. 16 teams make the playoffs, 8 from the East and 8 from the West. And all the matchups are the best of 7-game series, and they're usually lopsided for one team. In the East, the matchups and predicted winners are as follows. The Milwaukee Bucks take on the Detroit Pistons. I got the Bucks to win that one. The Toronto Raptors are taking on the Orlando Magic. I got the Raptors to win that one. The Philadelphia 76ers are taking on the surprising Brooklyn Nets. I got the Sixers coming out to win that one. And the Boston Celtics are taking on the Indiana Pacers. Here I like the upset. I like the Pacers to win. In the West, the matchups are the following. The Golden State Warriors are taking on the Los Angeles Clippers. I like the Warriors to win that one in a sweep. The Denver Nuggets are taking on the San Antonio Spurs, predicting the Nuggets to win. And the Portland Trailblazers are taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. I like the Thunder to take that one in an upset. And the Houston Rockets are taking on the Utah Jazz. And I like the Rockets to win that one. Congratulations to the Virginia Cavaliers for winning the 2019 NCAA Men's Tournament this week with a captivating 85-77 overtime victory over Texas Tech. And if you want to wish someone a good weekend, please give those wishes to Baltimore Orioles first baseman Chris Davis, who is hitless. I said hitless thus far this season, and he's riding an 0-for-53 streak dating back to last season. Come on, Chris, I know you can do it. That's it for sports. April, back to you.
Thank you for that, Gary. And that's it for our show tonight. Remember, we're live on Facebook and YouTube Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 7 p.m. and 11 p.m., as well as on Via Channel 4 and 504. Follow us on social media or tag us on any stories you want to see on the news. Send us a message on Messenger or email us at newsdirector@tv2.vi. Thanks again for joining us on News 2. I'm April Knight. We'll see you on Monday. Have a wonderful weekend.